Just go.
You can just go.
Okay.
Jen's wearing her heightening shoes. So.
Nothing heightening about that.
So I'm standing on Maple's placeboard.
So cheating. Whatever. It's fine.
Anyways, I don't know why we're laughing, because this is a serious topic, actually, and we'll flip this around really fast. We lost our Wisconsin lease, and
It's very sad.
And kind of flipping this around, we're laughing right now, but when I told you it was an utter shock.
We cried. Well, we both lost a lot of sleep.
Oh yeah, that first night I didn't sleep till sometime after 4:30 a.m., 5 o'clock a.m., and I had a client that day. Sorry to my client that Monday, but it was my client. I had to get up at 6:30 and drive an hour and 45 minutes one way to my client, and didn't go to sleep until close to 5 a.m. Yeah. And when I first talked to you, then I mean you were pretty emotional, and that's the part of it, like someone who is a non-hunter. Mm-hmm. And we're dealing with the landowners are non-hunters, friends of ours, but they have no connection to hunting or the hunting community and the ties that bind us all as hunters. Mm-hmm. Very deep emotional connections that you can only experience as a hunter. But it goes beyond that. We'd had some great hunts there. Just last year, you wanted to shoot that buck on opening day. I sent her a picture of you shoot at 235 yards with this 6.5 Creedmoor that's sitting right in front of us, then you can shoot top of shoulder and you should drop them. And Jen's a really good shot, and guess what happened?
I'm a really good shot most of the time. I can't shoot does, I guess, last year.
But what happened? I mean, he
dropped him right there. Yeah, it was
at
great
235 yards.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And, which that was the furthest shot. It could have been a lot closer. But aside from taking Jackson there, or Lily for their first hunts ever in her car seat going in last year when Lily was less than 4 weeks old. We turkey hunted up there.
That was Jackson's first deer hunt, I believe.
Yes, Thanksgiving in 2022. Mm-hmm. That was his first deer hunt out on the property. We have those emotional connections. Plus, we work on the land all year. And it doesn't matter if it's Minnesota, Wisconsin, a lease, or some land we own. We work on it all the time. Right. And so we could get a little personal, but like our first time we kissed.
Our first turkey hunt
was on that land.
So there's a lot of sentimental, like good memories that you're just walking away from, and it makes you sad. I feel like makes me emotional now thinking about it.
But it was 11 years. It was a good run. Yeah. When you don't own the land, you know it's going to end. I leased another property for 12 years. Those are 2 long-term leases, longer than most people get to experience on a land they love and build those connections on it. So, and what it was is we had a relative of the landowners that wanted to hunt, and them being totally oblivious to hunting connections, ties, anything. We actually got a call from that person last year, 2 days before gun season. This is on a 30-acre property. There's about 10 acres of fields. And we got a call from this person, and I want to talk. And so I talked to them, and they said, hey, would you mind if I come out and hunt on opening day? And it was more like, it was total shock, because it was just, I have a hard time with people when they ask overly obvious questions that it'd be no different than if someone came here and just said, hey, I know you have good turkey hunting. I know what you do in the industry. Do you think you could allow my son and I to hunt turkey? It'd be hard to say no. I wouldn't say yes, but it'd be hard to say no just because it's such an obvious question. Why would someone even ask that in the first place? And so that person obviously doesn't have real good hunting ethics, morals to me, or they wouldn't have asked in the first place.
Or potentially doesn't understand, right? If their family doesn't hunt, they're trying to get into it. They don't understand the amount of manpower.
And that's what I told them. I said, and this is, and what we've gone by is, I have older kids, 2 sons and a daughter, and I don't feel bad saying this. Like, if they wanted to come shoot some does, they've sat in the blinds with us recently, with Jen too. We've had some great hunts, But without working on the property, we don't want them hunting on the property. We put about 1,000 man hours in between Wisconsin and Minnesota a year, and I feel like you have to work and earn your spot to hunt on the property. This is something we do for a living, not just for, we do it for family enjoyment, we do it for future memories, for emotions, we do it for all those connections, we do it for the wildlife, everything, and we do it year round. And so if someone wants to take advantage of that work but doesn't want to work themselves, then we have to draw the line. I know I've never asked you, Dylan, does that seem harsh to you?
No, I think it's really fair. I think that there's a lot of people that like to take advantage of the hard work that gets done, and they show up and they shoot a deer. And for you guys in these specific instances, I totally see where you're coming from. I mean, this is a part of what you do for a living, as well as what you're extremely passionate about. So for somebody to just come in and think like, oh, Jeff set this up, I'm gonna go hunt it. That, to me, that just doesn't sit right.
Yeah, and what we do on the reverse, Joe, our my son-in-law, he came and he helped us pour like what would have been $20,000 worth of concrete. I mean, as far as paying someone else to do it, worked very, very hard.
Took on the job as foreman.
Yeah, basically told us grunts what to do, because he had that experience, and Jen's dad helped out with that too as a previous mechanical engineer contractor. And so, but anyways, Joey shot his first buck in Minnesota on the land with a slasher. He shot his first turkey. We even have a blind that's called Joey's Blind. My buddy Mike, that's a childhood friend, he comes up to help with the charity event every year. He'd do anything we wanted out on the property while he's here to visit, going ice fishing, everything else. And so he's someone else, like he hunts with us. But bottom line is, we were just totally taken aback when we had that question. I said no. I mean, it's flat out no. For one, when you're hunting with rifles on a 30-acre property with hills and a big bowl, that's just dumb. And where do you actually sit that third person out in the field looking at the woods? You can't sit them in the woods looking out towards someone else's land across the fields. But I kind of saw the writing on the wall. So when they said that they wanted that person to hunt now and just kind of take it over, I had explained that we just put out 400 pounds of rye seed, and just to show how out of touch, with hunting, which is understandable. They're not hunters, which is why we were, hunting in the first place. We just put out 400 pounds of rye and changed 9 trail camera sets of batteries to get ready for turkey season and bucks coming in. And the landowner said, well, that's kind of early to be working on the property. And I'm like, we work on the property year round. This is a year round thing. We hunted it 4 times last year in total.
Well, and you also had an appointment with, when I say appointment, we always do lunch, and hey, here's the money for the lease this year. And we had already talked about when we were going to do that.
Yeah.
So that
was
already
this Saturday.
Yeah, so that was already like set in stone.
Yeah, that's
done,
true. And so it was a day later.
Right. So when this happened, it was kind of like, oh, hello. Like,
yeah, and that kind of speaks to just not really sure. And even then, we've been on that property 11 years. They didn't know that you could lease the land for money. So we got them to lease the land for friends of mine about 15 years ago. They didn't know they could make $1,500 a year back then, and they were really happy with that. They bought me a gift card to the local restaurant.
We helped them with improvements on the, with roads.
Yeah, we
like
offered $1,000 extra 2 years ago for some excavating work that we didn't have anything to do with. It was just, they didn't ask. We just offered it. We gave them a raise every single year, so the lease was $1,000 more a year because we gave them $100 each year on our own. Old binoculars, the list goes on. So.
Yeah. What's next?
Yeah, it's a painful separation, but we wish it would have been kind of like, hey, we're going a different direction. You guys have 1 more year. That certainly wasn't the case. So what's next?
Look for something new.
Yeah, and I guess looking for something new, we will explore lease companies. We have some really good friends that are real estate agents in the area. That would be another call to anybody. We have some really good people that we know that are really good hunters that lease land, lots of land, and they keep some spots secret for themselves. We'll definitely explore all options. Dylan, do you know of anything? But anyways, and it's tough because people ask me all the time, do you have any land that you know of that someone could lease? Well, if we did, we'd probably lease it, or we have really close friends we would have already referred that land to. Would you say that's fair, Dylan?
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
people
for
ask
sure.
you all the time, probably, like, do you know of anywhere we can hunt?
I just hooked up a buddy with a lease a couple weeks ago, so yeah, I know how that goes. Yeah, they're hard to come by, and yeah, definitely if you find one, you're giving it to somebody that you're close to.
Yeah,
For sure.
and so we'll explore all options, but as far as we'll wrap this up, expectations with the hunt, the herd, the habitat, what do you expect?
80% rule?
80% rule. So the 80% rule is what we've applied to all properties. It started with this property when we first hunted it. It's applied to my other leases in Wisconsin, as we expect to shoot 80% of the mature bucks over a 5 to 10 year period in the neighborhood. So we expect to shoot the biggest bucks because we expect to build the habitat, meaning the type of food that lasts for the season. It's available at the right time of the year. We don't spook it out. We expect to have adequate cover. The cover is actually the least important because we're assuming there's some type of woods on the property.
Right.
Already. I'd rather have a 4 out of 10 for cover, give it 8 out of 10 food, and then the biggest thing is we'll hunt it well, and we'll make sure whatever comes in we don't spook. And so for that, we'll develop morning stands, afternoon stands, and all that kind of stuff. So
Kind of exciting, right? I mean, in a way, you know, we lose something.
I
but
love
it's,
building.
Right. And we've talked about this for a long time, many years, that it'd be cool to, at some point, if we get an opportunity, it'd be cool to start something different together and start from scratch. So that would be really neat if we can do something like that, or even if we can, you know, halfway start from scratch, right?
Yeah.
Like, stuff is good, and
What are some must-haves?
We must have, well, in order, it's a good question, because we expect to apply the 80% rule this season. This does not take years to develop, and we'll show that to you if we find a property. We'll do our best this year, but we expect to be able to plant good food. And so I've looked at leases in the past, and the person said, "Well, you can't plant food plots." Well, then I don't want it, because I can have someone that has a food plot, a good program, a mile away, and we're not going to have a chance. And so that's literally how it goes, unfortunately, for those of you that don't want food plots. But we need to have open space, open fields, idle ag land that we can take over. If we went to a property, what would you think of this, Dylan? We go to a property, it's 100% ag, we cannot plant food plots, and then there's open hardwoods timber.
Pass.
Pass.
Yeah.
Pass. I would rather find a property that, let's say they do have open ag, we're just going to discount that because it's not helping the wildlife or whitetail hunting at all. I want ag in the area. I want it surrounding the property, but I don't want it on the property. So it's not going to contribute anything other than that means there's a better deer herd in the area, there's more deer, whatever, good soils. But I would take a property that would allow us, that didn't have any ag on the property, was all poor cover, habitat, but would allow us to bulldoze food plots in. What do you think of that?
Yeah,
we would consider that, because we could bulldoze them in right now, even if they weren't done until August. We'd hold deer on them because we can bulldoze food plots in, and I would take that choice over that. Decent access where we can get in without spooking any food sources that would potentially be on the property, and adequate cover. But outside of that, I want it to be in a decent area. Decent area meaning
hour from the house.
yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Within, and we're only saying that just from, I had a property I owned that was an hour and 35 minutes from the house, and I'm not saying it was too far, but it was getting there. And so an hour and 15 minutes, we used to drive 50 minutes to this property.
Mm-hmm. Which was fine. It was great.
Which was fine.
Yeah, it was
but
great.
you're looking at it then when you leave the house, depending on the walk in, you're about 2 hours from sitting in your stand when you leave the house.
Right.
So if you wanted to be in a half hour before daybreak's at 7, then you're literally leaving at, do my math, 4:30.
Jeff Math.
Yeah, 4:30 in the morning to get there on time. So
your dad's winter is so distracting.
what's wrong with it?
Yeah, puke here, puke there.
Wait, you gotta wait.
Puke there.
You have to explain where that's coming from. The puke.
Do I? It's from you.
This wasn't like from holding your hair while you're sick one night.
No, it's a Lily.
It's Lily, my daughter. She's only 1. I guess she got, there are some stains on here.
A lot of them.
Well, so Lily does this thing where she I can see her across the room and like wave at her and say, you want to come here? And she'll just start crawling. And she'll crawl right over to me. And I have a window, meaning like she'll hold out her hands. I'll pick her up. She'll put her head right down here. So I probably have some puke marks like right here. But she'll lay her head down and like just cuddle with me. It's what, 5 seconds, 15?
Yeah. But
and if I push it, she's going to start pushing and whining. And so like, what I do is like, I don't push it. I just let her sit there. And as soon as she pulls her head back, I put her right back on the ground and let her go to playing. So what does she do? She keeps coming back for more.
Well, and then she leaves, you know, she leaves her scent on you. And I mean, that's her territory. She's marking her territory.
Yeah, her dad's sweatshirt. But anyways, you know, maybe a good thing. In the end, a good thing.
It will be a good thing. We talked about it. Some doors open, some doors close.
Yes. Yeah, we're staying positive as far as that goes. Doors will open, I'm sure. But at the same time, and I love building. I love going to client parcels. Dylan, isn't it fun? Like people even say, you're kind of excited about this. Like I can see this, you know.
I literally tell people all the time how jealous I am of like, I want to be at the ground level like you guys are right now and experience this get better.
Soon. Soon, right?
Yes. Well, yeah. Very, hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully this year, maybe?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm looking.
Yeah. Yeah, Dylan's looking, so.
Yeah.
If you know anyone.
But anyways, it's really fun building, putting in the plan, drawing out the design, having dreams, hopes, and doing it all right. And we have a Wes in our pocket.
Yeah, we do.
He's our full-time employee for the seed company. He's also a farmer, food plotter. He designs properties on the side. So actually to get him out and say, hey, Wes, we need this. We have equipment. We have a Jared in our pocket for excavating. We have a Brandon from First Choice Food Plot for excavating in Wisconsin.
Big rock trees.
We have help. And we'll explore all those options.
And we get to do it together.
Yeah, we get to do it together. So that's a really fun thing too. So
yeah, family thing.
We'll make new memories somewhere else. Sometimes it's hard to let those old memories go. We had an awesome run there.
We did.
And I have a lot of great memories going back even 11 years. So, but time to move forward, and we'll bring you along for the journey on looking for a new parcel. And once we have it, building it into an 80% parcel, hopefully this first year. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. I really want to remind you about our food plot seed company, Pure Wildlife Blends. I even have clients that don't realize we have our company, but the food plot seed blends are flying off the shelves. And that's a great thing, and that always happens this time of year. I encourage you to check out everything. Again, purewildlifeblends.com, links in the description. But at the same time, we always carry inventory. So if you are the type that puts it off to the last minute, order it in July, we'll have it. But in the meantime, check out purewildlifeblends.com. We have a lot of different seed blends, pollinator blends, wildlife blends, switchgrass, everything that you need to plant great food plots and great wildlife plantings this season.